This is NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey, back with a mailbag, answering all of your questions live here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. A super thanks to begin today's show. We'll break down what that is in a minute. Matt Batten reacting to the Lance Zierlein mock draft, not mine. I was upset for a second because I'm like, it wasn't that bad, but it was Lance's. He gave it an F. We appreciate your comment there, Matt. Super Thanks is a new-ish feature on YouTube. Allows you to donate outside of live videos. You can click the thanks icon, send a custom message, just say thanks instead. We appreciate your support here at Chat Sports. If you super thanks, we will give you a shout-out moving forward. Big ups to Matt Batten for putting that one in on a previous vid. All right, from my bad. Not it's Ohio State. As a Falcons fan, how many times do I have to believe the Falcons are not trading for Lamar Jackson? Too much to pay, too much to give away. We need a freaking defense. If I were the Falcons, I think in the end, I think the Ravens are going to pay him. That's what I would do. But if I were the Falcons, I'll move a first and some other assets, a first and Ritter and whatever else they want. Because if you get Lamar Jackson, yes, you need defensive help. I acknowledge that. You have someone to spend in free agency, by the way. You have a top 10, whatever number you want to rank him quarterback, and you are the favorite in the NFC South. In a wide open NFC, the Falcons get Lamar Jackson. They're no worse than the fourth team in the NFC. That's a big jump from where they are right now. Spend money in free agency. You can still structure that deal with Lamar properly. They were going to do it for Deshaun Watson. Why not do it for Lamar, who's even a better player, as far as I'm concerned, than what Deshaun Watson has ever been in his NFL career. Lamar's done more already. So I understand the sticker shock involved there. Maybe the Ravens won't do it anyway. But if I were Atlanta, yeah, I would get Lamar because it's much harder to find a top 10 quarterback than it is to find valid or viable defensive pieces. It's much harder for the QB. Skip the middle step. Just go get him right now. But will the Ravens even trade him? That one's not so clear. So vote, predict for me in the comments, at the pinned comment to be exact, if the ad break comes here on YouTube. Will the Ravens trade Lamar Jackson? Y for yes, N for no. GM Evan Hinders. Should the Niners trade Trey Lance to the New Orleans for a 3rd and a 6th? I'm going to keep Trey Lance if I'm San Francisco. Wouldn't be shocked if Derek Carr goes to the Saints, by the way, still. I would keep Trey Lance and let him and Brock Purdy, once Purdy's healthy, fight for that starting job. That's not a bad spot to be in with two young quarterbacks, one who played very well for you, one who you spent the number 3 overall pick on. I would let those two compete. Then maybe next year you move on from one if that's the route you want to pursue. Jamie Kincaid, do you think that the Cowboys will get Dalton Kincaid to replace Schultz? Is there any relation here? I'm going to have to look into that one. To answer your question, I don't think so. I think if you're the Cowboys and you want Dalton Kincaid, you have to take him in round 1. And I would bet the Cowboys' approach is we can keep finding viable tight ends later on in the draft, although Kincaid is a very good prospect and will be, I think, in the conversation of is he one of the better players on the board at that point. I could see Kincaid going in that 20-40 range, give or take a few picks. But I don't think tight end will be the bigger need for Dallas. So less of the prospect fit and more of just the available need for Dallas. I'm going to say no. JMO H, a.k.a. Devil J, I am worried with Ziegler, Mark Davis, and the Clown with draft picks and free agency. Yeah, I get it. I would be inclined to agree with those concerns of that leadership structure. We didn't really get a great look at their draft plan because they traded away their top picks for Devontae Adams, which makes sense. Don't get me wrong there. I approve of that. Big offseason for the Raiders. I hope it works out for you and for Mitchell Renz's mental health. From Matt Batten, a super thanks, $5. Super chat. Thank you, Sam. Should the Bears draft Jaxon, Smith-Njigba to pair with their QB too? I love the show, guys. Thank you, Matt. If you could get Jaxon, Smith-Njigba, yes. The problem is he's going to go somewhere between your 1st overall pick and between your 2nd round pick. You're not going to take him number 1. And frankly, that defense needs too much help to not take Carter, Anderson, or trade down. Now, if you trade down to like 11 or something, maybe JSN makes more sense, but he's not the same caliber of player that Jamar Chase was, for example. The ideal scenario would have been you take him at pick 32. but you traded that for Chase Claypool, which was an oopsie. From Epps CX, is next year's quarterback class better than this year's? We do say that kind of like every single year, so be careful. I think the top guys, Caleb Williams, Drake May, from what we've seen so far, there's an entire year of actual play and, of course, a more under the microscope look at those QBs to identify the flaws that are there for all of them. There's an entire year of that and draft cycle to go. But I think those two guys would be QB1 in this class. So from a top-end perspective, sure. This year's class, though, is better than last year's, which that one was, I think, a little bit obvious. The week before that? No, not so much. Now, if you want a jersey for your favorite NFL team, favorite player, they're on sale. Chatsports.com/jersey deal. Perfect time to buy is after the year ends because as long as you're picking the good players, you're going to get a nice little deal there. Links in the comments section and the description is chatsports.com/jersey deal. These are official Nike jerseys from our friends over at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/jersey deal. A super chat again from Matt Batten. I think Michael Mayer will fall to pick 26 for the Cowboys. I wouldn't say it's a 0% chance, although I'm a big fan of Michael Mayer's game. I think he goes before that, and much like the Dalton Kincaid conversation, I don't think Dallas would prioritize a tight end in round one. Now, if they have a true first-round grade on a Michael Mayer, a Dalton Kincaid, or Luke Musgrave, Darnell Washington, whatever, that could change things. But I would say it's not that likely the Cowboys go tight end in round one. Junior Estrada, the Patriots trade for Brandin Cooks. What year is it? I wouldn't rule out Cooks getting cut. His salary is a bit of a problem in terms of a release, so teams will have interest. Maybe he wants to stick around in Houston. He goes, oh, you know what? It's okay. I ended up getting a young new quarterback to grow with there. I don't think the Patriots are the ideal landing spot, but I do think there will be plenty of trade conversations on Brandin Cooks. From Geriatric, will Anthony Richardson go number one like CBS thinks? I saw the mock draft too. It was CBS Sports mock draft says Anthony Richardson will go number one because he will light up the combine. Stupid. I would be shocked if he went number one, and frankly, it's a great way to get your regime fired. There is immense upside with Richardson. I don't know about you guys. I am terrified of taking a quarterback who could not complete 54% of his passes. The highs are awesome. Best highlight reel of any QB in this year's draft class. The lows, the bad games, are completely undraftable. This is, to an extent, the whole Josh Allen conversation again. Allen took a massive leap forward in year 3 in Buffalo. I think that type of leap is an outlier leap for most of the NFL. There's a long list of those toolsy quarterbacks who get drafted and never pan out, including but not limited to guys like Jake Locker. I'm a little bit more worried that's what you're going to get than what you're going to get with Richardson becoming the next Josh Allen. Josh Allen's going to get a lot of teams fired because they didn't draft him, and then they try to get the next Josh Allen, and they ended up getting the next Jake Locker, and that doesn't go very well too often. So prediction time. Who will be the number one overall pick in this year's NFL drafts? Is it Bryce Young? Is it a defensive lineman? The Bears don't trade that pick. Get those answers in for me in the comment section right now. Jacobs, NFL champ. Who do you think the Bills end up re-signing? Let me look at their free agents real quick here. Bills are, I think, they're going to look towards the receiving group of trying to get some more talent there. I think that's a big thing they're trying to find, more offensive line help. I think Jordan Poyer leaves, unfortunately. I think they bring back Roger Saffold. I could see, I think the number one priority will be Tremaine Edmonds. I think they get that deal done. It might cost them, however, if they try to shop Ed Oliver, who has not lived up to expectations so far. You Green, Tom, worst case scenario for your Cowboys this offseason. They do the exact same thing they did last year. They go, we don't need Dalton Schultz. We're going to let him leave. We'll franchise tag Tony Pollard. We're not going to get a long-term deal done there. We're not actually going to make any moves to make our team better, and we're going to think that this time it'll be different. That's my concern. NFC's wide open. Teams like the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Niners, the Vikings, the Lions, the Bears, a lot of these NFC teams should be going, we can make the run. So what they should be is aggressive. My worst case scenario, they do the same thing again, which is the literal definition of insanity. And we sit back here again in January, February going, it wasn't good enough. Well, I wonder why. I didn't try in the offseason again. Rant over. If you want free NFL videos, they want to be a part of our mailbags, you have to be subscribed. Otherwise, you're not going to know that we go live, which we go live, by the way, Mondays and Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Central or Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Central. Hit that sub button and join us for free videos every single day right here on Chat Sports. $10 from Matt Batten, the MVP today. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. You're welcome, guys. Love the show. Please sign a good wide receiver, Dallas. I know Matt wants DJ Chark in Dallas. Trade for one. Sign one. Draft somebody. Do something at wide receiver that isn't letting two of your four best playmakers go. Your other one, not named CeeDee Lamb, was a shell of himself coming off of injury. And then you go, surprised Pikachu face. Why were we not as good at getting open? I wonder why. So, Matt, I agree. From John Dorman, I think the whole Fields rumor is dumb. If he was coming out this year, he'd be the unquestioned number one. We would still get him. QB1, let's ride. I'd agree with John. I know the unknown, the number one pick is the mystery box, right? Of, well, what could it be? It could be anything. I liked Fields a lot coming out of Ohio State. I thought he should have gone before some other QBs did in that draft class. I think outside of Lawrence, he's been the next best one. Low bar, I suppose, but I've been very impressed with what Fields can do with his legs. I think the passing is getting there, and the mobility gives him time to find that passing game because it adds another dynamic element. So I agree, John. If I'm the Bears, I'm keeping Justin Fields. Sam Jordan, what if Lamar goes to the 49ers? I don't know what they're moving asset-wise to make that happen. They have one pick, I think, in the top 100 this year. You could move Lance. That's a start, I guess, but you need a lot more there. Lamar goes to San Francisco, and woof. NFC favorites. That's what that is. Loaded defense. You got Lamar, in theory, Christian McCaffrey. That'd be fun, if not the NFL favorites. That'd be an awesome fit. I think he and Shanahan would thrive together. Because Lamar, by the way, everyone goes, well, they hired a air raid coordinator. You didn't watch Georgia this year if you think that. Also, he played under Bobby Petrino. It was a pro-style offense at Louisville. It's just that's not what the Ravens did with him. So let him cook. It would be awesome in terms of, but I don't think it's going to happen. From Catboy, Chargers going to trade Khalil Mack. Maybe. He almost made our AFC cut candidates list. A lot of money here to be saved. He's a prime. He's not back at his current. It's like 27, I think, million, something like that. 18.4 if you cut or trade him right now in savings. 22.9. In the event you choose to do it after June 1st, probably be more of a cut there. Khalil Mack, by the way, I'm pulling up his numbers, make sure I got him right. 8 sacks this year, 6 the year before that, then 9, 8.5. It's a lot of money for a guy not getting you to 10 sacks. So I would think a restructure extension might make more sense, but just keep that one in mind. So I want you now to name a player who you think gets traded. Is it Khalil Mack? Somebody else? Let me know in the comments section. How about them Niners? I think the Ravens bring back Justin Houston. The Niners have a chance. 9.5 sacks, not retiring, not too expensive. Get Bosa help. I think that for the Niners, you would probably look towards a draft pick. In theory, Drake Jackson steps up for you this year. You have had other pieces on the defensive line. I think the big thing you're missing is Javon Kinlaw has not really become the piece that I thought he was going to be. I thought Charles Omenihu flashed, Samson Ebukam flashed, but you want that second premier guy. I would almost wonder if you want a guy with better run stopping. Houston's kind of a situational player. Good veteran name to explore. Niners might choose to go cheaper, though. From Robert, can the pick for the Raiders be next year's, or pick for Rodgers be next year's for the Raiders? Maybe, but I would wonder if, unless Rodgers says I'm only going to play for the Raiders, if Vegas has that type of leverage, because the Jets would move their first-round pick, I think. That means you got to move yours. So try it, but I'm not sure you'd be able to pull it off. From Dolph World, should the Broncos sign Daron Payne? I think there's a long list of teams, especially fan bases, that want to sign Daron Payne. I think that's going to lead to a lot of heartbreak for most fan bases. Denver might want to focus on the offensive line a little bit more, maybe even retaining Draymond Jones. I think Payne goes elsewhere, but he's going to be a very popular target if the Commanders do not franchise tag him. All right, last one from Joseph. Is it too early to judge Claypool? Yes and no. Actually, we'll do the super chat. One more after this one. It's the same question. Look at that. Matt Batten. What are the odds? Is it too early to judge Claypool from the Bears? Would he still be a good fit for them? I suppose, yes, it is too early to judge the player. Despite what others might tell you, it is not too early to judge the trade. It's a bad trade for Chicago. Chase Claypool was not worth what they gave up. Now, if they had moved the Ravens' second-round pick, that might have been a different conversation. They gave up too much for Claypool. I will not write him off yet, but I would be a little bit concerned about the borderline complete non-impact of a guy who, you keep that pick, you could have gotten an interesting receiver. So that, I didn't like the trade at the time. Don't like it now. Hopefully things change.